we got to the end, it got kind of where I think he started questioning me a little bit. So when a guy starts to question you, think they don't believe in you. So I felt like it was time to move on, you know, for him. Go to somebody he can trust, not somebody that he got to question, you know?
Yeah.
I'm proud that I could give the fans the fight they wanted. I'd rather lose an exciting fight than win a boring fight.
But do undefeated records matter anymore?
I guess. Beautiful brutality of the first fight, but it's a fight that has to happen again. Conor Benn wants revenge. I think he grew hugely in their first fight, and I think Junior gutted it out when people were questioning him. I thought he was terrific down the back stretch, and they provided what they said they would, a fantastic fight, and it will be round 13 in November.
We've got Eubank Benn coming up on November the 15th provisionally. So obviously Chris is been recovering, resting, and will start his preparations soon for.
Roy Jones Jr. didn't sugarcoat his opinion when asked about the upcoming rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. In his eyes, it's just not the fight that makes sense. After working closely with Eubank Jr. as his coach in the past, Roy admitted he doesn't see much value in them running it back, even though it might pull in views. His exact words? It's a waste. And that one word has sparked plenty of conversation around a rematch that's already dividing opinion in the boxing world.
I did. For the first few times, he was always like a sponge. He soaked up everything I taught him, and he came back. I was like teaching him something. 2 or 3 weeks later, he had it down pat. So I was really impressed with him. Then we got to the end, it got kind of where I think he started questioning me a little bit. So when a guy starts to question you, think they don't believe in you. So I felt like it was time to move on, you know, for him. Go to somebody he can trust, not somebody that he got to question, you know?
Yeah.
Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn are set to face off again in what is already shaping up to be one of the most talked about rematches in British boxing. The two will go head to head on November 15th, returning to the same venue, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where they first fought in a fiery and action-packed bout earlier this year. Eubank Jr. walked away with the win that night, outpointing Benn in front of a massive crowd, but this time, both fighters are stepping back into the ring with something to prove.
All right, so this is interesting because we didn't know we were going to get this. It looked like because they were originally supposed to have the rematch in September, and that was going to be set in stone. That was how it was going to go. And then Chris Eubank Jr.'s team, I guess, wasn't on board, or he wasn't on board, and they couldn't get the deal done. So it looked like we were moving on. You know, Conor Benn staying at 147, potentially looking to fight big fights at 147. Ryan Garcia out there, who knows? And then for Chris Eubank Jr., we didn't really know. Is he going to fight again? Is he going to hang him up? Is he going to look to move back to 168 and try to compete at a higher level there? And we just didn't get any answers. You know, we really did not know. So having this thing back on is great. Like, I wouldn't have minded if they moved on from it, but this is great. You know, rematch, a highly contested fight the first time around.
Meanwhile, when Roy Jones Jr. was asked for his prediction, he didn't lean too strongly toward either man. While he mentioned Eubank's size as an advantage, he also gave Benn credit for putting on a solid performance the first time around. According to Roy, if Benn watches the footage from their first fight and makes the right adjustments, things could go differently. But even with that possibility, Roy's overall take was clear. He just doesn't believe this fight brings anything new to the table.
Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr., they've got a rematch. Who wins?
Hard to say, man. I like Chris because he was the bigger fighter, but Conor put on a hell of a show last time. If he can go look at the tape and make adjustments, he could make it different, so we don't know yet.
Meanwhile, Conor Benn's coach Tony Sims is thinking in the complete opposite direction. He believes this second fight is going to be even bigger than the first, not just in terms of fan interest, but also in what it means for Benn's career. Sims explained that the first fight already left fans buzzing, with many calling it one of the most exciting fights they'd seen in years. Now, with all eyes back on this rivalry, he's confident that more people will be tuning in the second time around.
Yeah, sure. You know, we've been waiting for the date and the venue, and it's come through this morning, and as you say, it's a massive fight. The first fight was enormous, and I think this fight's going to be even bigger. I think after watching the first fight, if you're a fan, that is, you know, everyone's saying it's the most exciting fight they've ever watched, and so I think it'll get a lot more people wanting to tune into that fight, and obviously we're going to win the next fight, and But yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting Conor Benn ready to fight, and it's going to be historic.
For Ben, this fight isn't just about putting on a good performance, it's about redemption. The 28-year-old is looking to bounce back from the only loss on his professional record. In the first meeting, he had to go up 2 full weight classes from welterweight to middleweight, which is no easy task against someone like Eubank Jr, who has even fought at super middleweight in recent years. Not only did Ben take on the size difference, but he also stepped into the ring after being inactive for nearly 18 months.
Listen, nobody likes to lose. Especially when I felt like I didn't lose. In fact, I felt like I've won. I think a lot of people think it was going to be very one-sided, and it's a hard one because I don't like to lose. I felt like I was going to go in there and knock him out early doors. Aggression got to me that night, heart got to me that night, emotion got to me that night. You know, so I'm proud that I could give the fans the fight they wanted. I'd rather lose an exciting fight than win a boring fight.
But do undefeated records matter anymore?
Now, with that experience under his belt and the ring rust gone, Sims believes we're going to see a sharper, stronger, and more confident Conor Benn. Sims made it clear that he's already seen big improvements from Benn behind closed doors in training. He believes that Benn has more to show, and this rematch is the perfect chance for that. He said the adjustments have already begun and that Conor will walk into the ring much better prepared this time. Sims has full belief that they'll not only do better, but win this time around.
Which is a phenomenal thing to do in the first place, especially against a world-ranked middleweight. And, you know, he stepped up, and he hadn't boxed for nearly a year and a half as well. So he's had the fight now, so the rust is well and truly off, and you know, he's fought Chris already, so he knows what it's like at middleweight, and he'll be feeling confident going into the second fight. I feel like there's a lot more in Conor Benn to come out yet, and I've seen it obviously in the gym and in sparring, and I believe this fight we'll see a better fighter in Conor Benn this time. I believe that he.
The weight for the rematch is expected to remain the same as the first bout, 160 pounds. That makes it tough again for Benn, who is more comfortable at 147 and adds pressure on Eubank Jr to make weight properly this time.
I guess, beautiful brutality of the first fight, but it's a fight that has to happen again. Conor Benn wants revenge. I think he grew hugely in their first fight, and I think Junior gutted it out when people were questioning him. I thought he was terrific down the back stretch, and they provided what they said they would, a fantastic fight, and it will be round 13 in November.
In their first fight, Eubank Jr missed the weight by just half a pound, which ended up costing him 375,000 pounds. Even though he did make the rehydration limit of 170 pounds, there were questions about how much the weight cut affected him. Adam Smith, another respected voice in boxing, has even said he'd prefer a higher weight limit this time around, acknowledging that Benn is naturally the smaller man and Eubank clearly had trouble hitting the target last time.
This rematch, so I guess it will be the same. I would like to see a slight increase in the weight clause. I would be happier if it was a 162, 163, so that Chris, we didn't see maybe those pictures of Chris burning that weight down and trying to get it off at the last hurdle, and then of course the fines and everything that went on before the night itself. But again, that's possibly harsh on Conor because he's naturally a much smaller fighter.
Promoter Ben Shalom has also confirmed his involvement in this highly anticipated rematch. Shalom, who runs Boxer, helped promote the first fight along with Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing. He said that Eubank Jr is in a good place right now and will begin serious preparations soon. Shalom sees this bout as one of the biggest fights of the year and confirmed that it's expected to happen again at the 160-pound limit.
We've got Eubank Benn coming up on November the 15th provisionally. So obviously Chris is been recovering, resting, and will start his preparations soon for what will be one of the biggest fights I think of the year. But he's in a good place, and that event has sort of captured the imagination of the whole. We talk about British boxing exploding. I think that event in particular, with the stories and with the storytelling and the fathers, it just took a life of its own, and I think the rematch is going to be even bigger.
Adding to the excitement, Shalom revealed that Boxer has just signed a new deal with the BBC, moving away from their old partnership with Sky Sports. This deal is a big one, allowing big British fights to reach audiences on Saturday Night TV and BBC iPlayer. Shalom said this is a huge step for the sport and will help bring boxing to more fans than ever before. That means this rematch won't just be big in the boxing community, it could be one of the most widely watched British fights of the year.
All week will be shown on the BBC iPlayer, and then we'll have the best slot I think you could possibly ask for. A couple of 2.5 hours leading into match of the day, multi-fight, multi-year deal. So I think obviously it's amazing for us and myself and Boxer and the fighters, but I genuinely believe for the sport it's a historic moment for boxing, and we're always competing for eyeballs with other sports. We're always wanting to be on the front pages, and this puts us firmly in the front page.
As for Eubank Jr., his training camp seems likely to stay the same, with Jonathan Banks expected to remain in his corner. But Eubank Jr. is known for changing trainers often. He's already worked with 6 different coaches, including big names like Brian Bomac McIntyre and of course Roy Jones Jr. Speaking about his time coaching Eubank, Roy had good things to say at first. He said that Eubank was like a sponge, learning quickly and soaking up all the advice given to him. But towards the end, Roy felt the connection had started to fade. He noticed Eubank began to question him, and that's when Roy knew it was time to part ways. He believes a fighter needs a coach they fully trust, and when that trust starts slipping, it's best for both to move on.
You spoke of yourself and Junior parting ways. I was really kind of get a bit more of an understanding as to why you felt that it was a right move on both sides.
I really don't want to talk about that right now. That's his thing. He has a fight coming up, a very important fight that I think he should win, and I want him to win. So it's not about me and him, it's about him. I want the best for him right now, you feel me? So whatever it takes to get the best for him is what I want for him. Just do what he got to do, be Chris Eubank, do what he should have did the first time, what we said, what we trained to do the first time, just do that. And his hands be raised.
Eubank Jr. has always been a bit of a wild card when it comes to his corner. He's constantly looking for the right fit, and that could be a factor again in this fight. Whether he sticks with Banks or not, one thing is clear, he'll need to be fully locked in if he wants to beat Ben a second time.
Where else is Chris Eubank Jr. gonna go? David Benavidez? Keep waiting for Canelo? No way, man. He's making a killing fighting these B-side fighters. He's gonna be the bigger fighter against Conor Benn. He won that first fight handedly. Yes, it was exciting. Ben had his moments of youth and vigor and strength towards the end, where the older fighter is always gonna, slip up a little bit. But still, intelligence, experience, and that championship pedigree got Eubank Jr. through the finish line, and that long jab. So it's gonna be even easier for him the second time around, and he's gonna collect another check in an incredible, marketed fight. Because that first fight, the marketing sold it. The marketing, the promotion, how these guys handle themselves, the complete polar opposites in personality and style of each other. Man, that's a promoter's dream. Fans eat that up. So the second time around is going to be even easier. Bring it on.
As for Conor Benn, many believe he has everything to gain. He's still young, still improving, and already showing signs that he's grown since that first loss. He's fought above his usual weight in his last 3 fights, staying active and showing that he can compete with bigger opponents. And with the hunger to get revenge, Benn could come into this rematch more dangerous than ever.
Look, I understand why they're fighting. I understand the relevance of the fight economically. I would have liked to see Conor go off and fight for a world title, because I think there's one's available for him to win. But the public loved it.
Yeah,
I was less enamoured by it. I mean, kind of sulking.
Did you watch the first one? I know you
didn't watch it live. I watched it on Saturday morning.
Okay.
Because I felt if I didn't watch it, I wouldn't have much to say on it on Monday, and everyone would just say you didn't watch it, so how can you have any comment on it? But I wasn't as invested as other people. I sort of said all along that I didn't think it was going to be the greatest of fights. I understand that people did think it was a great fight. It was an honest fight. There were 2 guys in there putting out their very best because of the history, circumstances and the history, and so they should. Yeah. They made such a 4-act play out of it, and they're trading off their fathers' names. The 2 great fighters were Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr. These 2 are poor imitations,
but good imitations.
Well, I think they're listen, we would describe this fight first of all, no one would pay 50 grand for it if it wasn't the Eubank and Benn names above the door. And secondly, we would probably describe it differently if we weren't all sucked into the sentimentality and nostalgia trip.
Despite Roy Jones Jr. calling the rematch a waste, the truth is, fans are clearly interested. There's a story here. Unfinished business between two rivals with deep family legacies and real pride on the line. While Jones doesn't see the need for a second fight, the boxing world is treating this one like a can't-miss event.
They'll face each other again. The rematch is too lucrative to step away from.
Yeah, that's.
But then there's a number of fights for both. I say Barrios for Conor Benn. I know Lara's there for Chris Eubank Jr.
True.
Billy Joe Saunders is there for Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah.
He's got a number of options. He's got Canelo on the table. How viable that is, I don't know, but it's a ridiculous match if it's ever made.
Yeah.
I just think at this stage in the career, they're both at a similar level. Conor's young, he's going to progress, he's going to learn, the experience is going to do him well.
That's it.
Chris is coming more to the back end of his career now.
With promoters backing it, coaches sounding confident, and both fighters training hard, November 15th is shaping up to be a massive night for British boxing. Whether you're rooting for Eubank Jr. to prove he still has the edge, or hoping to see Ben complete his comeback story, one thing's for sure, this fight is going to get people talking once again. If you're enjoying the breakdowns and boxing drama, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Ring Rivalry. Stay locked in, we'll be back with more heat, analysis, and all the fight night buzz very soon.